What's good? What's good, chat? What's good, chat? You already know what it is. We back with another live stream, live from Kuye headquarters. man, I hope y'all can hear me well. You already know how it is. I'm finna do a quick sound check. Gonna take less than 30 seconds, and then we're gonna get right into it. I want to make sure y'all can hear me correctly. And as soon as I know that, we finna get right into the topic. Um, as you can see, the title of this episode is the nepotism effect. Um, if you haven't heard that word before, nepotism is the ability to receive something because of the work of your parents, essentially. You know, definitions are very important, but I want you for this video to understand, or this live stream to understand, and however you're viewing this to understand that nepotism is reaping the benefits of something you didn't work for because of what your parents did. And we gonna really get into that today. But let me do my sound check real quick. As you notice, I done cut my hair. My hair is shorter than it's been in the last forever. I just cut my hair, so yeah, looking a little short on the top, but don't worry about it, man. Same fire information I'm finna try to give you guys today. So let me do the sound check. Give me 1 second. Yeah, looking a little short on the top, but don't worry about it, man. Same fire information I'm gonna try to give you guys today. So let me do the sound check. Give me 1 second. Okay, it's looking like we sounded good, so I'm not too worried about sound anymore. I'm gonna need to get right into this. Let's see how many people watching. Okay. It's looking like we sounded good, so I'm not too worried about sound anymore. All right, bet. Let's get into it, man. I've been dragging it out a little bit too long. So today's topic is the nepotism effect. Nepotism is what separates family who keep their wealth from families who lose it all. But even if you're not rich, your family could have used the same secret playbook that every other family who has money uses to set themselves up and their kids up. Watch the rest of this video, and I will tell you exactly how the rich uses this secret playbook in order to get an unfair advantage in the game of life. And it's something I learned from my mentor as well. My name is Kuye. I'm a third generational counselor and entrepreneur. And I teach students, professionals, and entrepreneurs how to grow personally and professionally using proven frameworks and systems. If you like more content about this so that you can grow personally and professionally in all the areas of your life, health, wealth, love, and happiness, shoot me a follow, shoot me a little subscribe, something like that. What up, my guy? I ain't heard from you in a minute, bro. Shoot me a DM, man. It's really been a minute. Shoot me a DM, bro. We gotta catch up. I know you got a girl and you went. I think yeah, you got a girl and went NIA. MIA. My bad. But nah, you good, bro. I'm just messing with you. Definitely hit the line, bro. But this is what we finna do. I want to get into the topic as soon as possible when it comes to actually streaming and doing all of these things. I think that anything you do in life, especially depending on where you came from, you're gonna be able to reap the rewards of this thing I learned from my mentor. And the first lesson you got to understand that my mentor taught me really is let me switch this frame real quick just so you guys can see. Why stay poor? That's the first question we got to answer. Because at the end of the day, there are people who going to make their money for their family, make their money for taking care of themselves and taking care of the people that they love. And then there's gonna be people that take care of themselves and barely get by. People who every single day got to worry about their basic needs and all these different things. And am I saying that one is better than the other? No. But what I am saying is that if one person is struggling to get by and another person is making so much money easily that they don't even know what to do with, then I want to learn from this person, the person who's making money easily, like it's second nature. So the first thing we got to understand is that people who have more than you are smarter than you. And that's just the fact. They know something that you don't. They are more intelligent than you are. They know something and have something that you don't. It doesn't mean they're better than you by any means. Being better than someone is not something any human can judge. That's for God to judge. And even then, he says he loves all his children the same. So all praise to God. But on this earth, when it comes to different practical outcomes that you may not be able to understand how to get, a lot of that comes down to somebody knowing more than you. And to really lay the foundation of all of that, we have to humble ourselves because, first of all, just because somebody has more than you doesn't mean that they're better than you in other qualities. But if you want what they have, you got to learn at least the little piece of information that they got that you don't, regardless. And it's something that my mentor taught me when I was buying my first rental property was that there are people online who talk about information, who give you free information, but it's not a lot of people who actually got things going on that can prove they got things going on and who actually will give you knowledge that will work because of the lessons that they've learned from doing it. My mentor is one of those people who, he gonna cut through all the fluff. If you wrong, you wrong. If you right, you right. He's only gonna speak from his experience because he's somebody who's actually has experience in the property investment field. But when you break it down from a standpoint of why are some people well off, why some people are not, it's as simple as this person knows something on how to stay, living day to day. And this person knows something about how to thrive, how to excel, how to do better. And we trying to figure out what this person knows that we don't. And I'm gonna break it down to you the next step in the next topic I want you to understand really quickly before I get into the main bulk of the information. So, what is it that the people that are getting ahead financially or getting ahead in all their goals understand that you don't? Well, they understand how to make the game unfair. Life is a game. And this is something that I've thought since I was a little kid. I was an awkward kid, someone who didn't really fit in. So everything in life I had to learn from the ground up. I didn't have social skills, so I was the awkward bully kid in school. I wasn't athletic or fit, so I had to lose all the chub I had on my body and get swole a little bit and get athletic and be able to dunk and have a 40-inch vertical and do all this and that. I didn't know how to talk to girls, so man, believe me, if I couldn't even make friends, I definitely wasn't going to talk to no girls. I had to learn how to go out there and actually put myself out there and actually, have a little bit of riz, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what they say. That's what they call it. Don't quote me on that. I don't know, man. I ain't out here doing nothing right now. But you have to make life unfair because for somebody to look at you in your position and say, I have more than you, it means that they have a advantage over you. Doesn't make you less, it doesn't make them better. It just means objectively they have something you don't, which means they have an unfair advantage. If I have $100,000 in the entry to get into this room where I can go make a million is 100,000, I got an advantage over you because I can pay to get in that room and you can't. It's just the reality of it. I'm not better. I'm more prepared. I have what's required. So now that we talk about making the game unfair, how do we do that? The one thing that people who have more physically, spiritually, mentally, relationally understand is intelligence. And intelligence is a very misunderstood thing because when I say intelligence, a lot of people think about IQ. IQ is what psychology used to measure intelligence when they were first trying to figure out who was smart or not. But there's a lot of dirty, dark history about IQ when it comes to trying to separate different races, be racist about who's smarter and who's not, classism about who's going to be rich and poor. I'm not talking about intelligence the way psychology used to talk about intelligence. Intelligence based on history. What is intelligence? Intelligence is your ability to get the things you want out of life. That's a truly intelligent person. And an intelligent person is somebody who has two things. Now, write this down if you're not. There are two things that all people who are successful in whatever area of life they want to be successful in understand. Intelligence is a combination of two things and two things only. First is education, and second is opportunity. And I'm gonna break down a little bit of history so we can really understand this. There was a point in time where people thought that Africans were the lowest intelligent beings on this planet. And let me explain to you why. Think about the civilizations that we learn about in school, whether you're in the United States or maybe you're in Europe, you learn pretty much similar to the same things. You learn about how there was these big French empires, these European, Greek, these big empires who built castles and did all these amazing things. They fought wars over land and they wanted to do all these things about conquering and oppressing and forcing their way of life on other people. But then you have the people in Africa. If you don't know the history, Africa and a lot of the continents in it, sorry, not continents, I sound goofy, countries within Africa, a lot of them got their names not from the people there themselves, but the people who colonized Africa. Africa in itself dealt with a lot of different factors that the other world didn't deal with. In Europe, you had seasons, you had different ways to adapt. When things got too hot, you didn't have to worry too much because then you had a fall and a winter that was coming. When things got too cold, you didn't have to worry about too much because you know it's gonna get hot again. You were able to regulate and adapt due to temperatures. And it's also pretty easy to adapt to a cold climate than it is to adapt to a hot climate. In Africa, they had to deal with a lot of one, extremely wild, ferocious animals and wildlife. If you notice, a lot of the early African civilizations and tribes, they prioritized themselves around community and also warriors because they had to fight off the different animals in the wilderness. And they also had to figure out exactly how they were going to survive to the next day because it's hot, hard to find food, and you're always worried about survival. They didn't necessarily have the opportunity because of them focusing on how to survive day to day to build giant castles and empires other than Egypt, where the history of Egypt is far, far, far extremely vast. But a lot of places in Africa didn't have the infrastructure or the ability because of them fighting for survival and basic life to even go ahead and build those structures that made people believe, oh yeah, they're an advanced civilization. They just hung around in tribes with barely any clothing because it's hot. And why do you need, unique clothing for a continent that's mainly extremely hot in most places? These are things that when we talk about intelligence, they didn't think that Africans were as intelligent because of the factors that led to them being able to progress and conquer in a way that people in Africa did not. They were more community based and they were more survival based because they had to be. But bringing it back, now that we understand the historical context of why they made a certain group not seem intelligent, because they may have had the education or the ability, but they didn't have the opportunity because they were fighting for day to day. We have to look about it in the context of 2025, the day that we live in, 2025 and after. In order to be considered intelligent, you have to have the education and the opportunity. Education, you can control almost 100%. Opportunity, you can improve your chances of receiving opportunity, but you cannot control opportunity all the time. And people understand this at a deep level who want to be great. They understand that you have to be educated in a vast amount of ways just so that when the right opportunity comes, you have all the necessary resources or can scrounge up the necessary knowledge to seize that opportunity. Because what good is a doctor without a job or a hospital to go work at? What good is a plumber without a house to go repair? What good is an electrician without some sort of circuit that's broken that he can go work on? Without the opportunity, the job, the I'm going to overtalk myself. Just know the opportunity and the education is what creates intelligence. Because if Elon Musk had the education but didn't go out there and find the opportunity to go ahead and become one of the leading innovators in the rocket, in the electric car, in the robotic space, then no one would be talking about him. They wouldn't consider him as intelligent, smart. Intelligence smarts breaks down to being able to get what you want out of life. And the only way you can get what you want out of life is by controlling two things: education and opportunity. There's a reason why the United States was so great for so long, is because anybody, for the most part, obviously there's caveats there, but anybody for the most part could come to America and they could go ahead and get opportunity. You could work your way from the bottom on up. You can save money, buy a house, save for retirement, give money to your kids, die. Because even the Bible says that what is a man who cannot provide for his children's children or for his family? That man is worse than a sinner, worse than a non believer. I can't quote scripture directly, but I can guarantee you that something relative to that statement that I said is in there. Go read it. Don't believe me. It's very important that the outlook we have on creating our unfair advantage in this game we call life, the way you create that unfair advantage, by definition, the only thing you can do is educate yourself and get opportunity. There's a reason why when wars are going on, people leave that country, because there's no opportunity when a war is going on. There's just death, destruction. There's no opportunity. There's reasons why throughout all of history, when things got bad in a country, where do you go? You leave to find better opportunity, better safety somewhere else. I'm not going to explain this anymore because I can go on forever to prove it to you. But if you don't believe it by now, then you're going to have to go watch some other content by me or somebody else and then come back and we'll talk later. But education plus opportunity is how you create that unfair advantage. And that's what rich people understand. That's why they put their kids in private schools. That's why they put them in activities so they can learn and be educated in so many different ways. And that brings me to my next point, because I'm not focusing on opportunity here, because a lot of us, I'm going to talk about opportunity in another video, but I'm focused on the education portion. What is the education that rich people understand that so many people do not? And I want to explain it to you. And that education I like to call different types of IQ, different types of intelligence. Most people don't really think about this, but I'm sure they learned it in some psych class in high school or maybe college or anything like that. But there are proven and specific generalized areas of intelligence. And there are 9 different types of intelligence. And I'm going to go through all of them, but I will not stay on all of them forever. The first type of intelligence is linguistic intelligence. Linguistic intelligence is your sensitivity to spoken and written language, the ability to learn languages and to use language to accomplish goals. It's basically your ability to communicate. Writers, poets, lawyers, public speakers, they are people who have a knack for linguistic intelligence. Different ways you can get better: reading, journaling, storytelling, and public speaking. These are the type of intelligence that I would say can bring you the furthest, because maybe you may not be the smartest. Maybe you may not be the person who is the most book smart, but if you can talk your way, if you can sell your way into different successful situations, different opportunities, oh man, There's a lot of people that don't understand the power and the seriousness of people that live by the quote, fake it till you make it. If you can communicate like somebody who's smart and not be smart, you can literally fake your way into opportunities like your entire life. And I want you to think about somebody right now who's very famous, or somebody right now you know in your personal life who may not be that bright, but they should do a good job at faking it when it's necessary so they can get them opportunities, talking their way into situations. It's how it is. The second type of intelligence is logical intelligence, mathematical intelligence, sometimes being called that as well. It's the ability to analyze problems logically, perform mathematical operations, and investigate issues scientifically. People who are very strong in this type of intelligence are typically scientists, engineers, data analysts, and chess players. The ways that you can actually develop this type of intelligence are through logic puzzles, coding, budgeting, and strategic games. This is actually the type of intelligence that I'm really good at. I am very good with numbers, and it's something that I've always kind of found really easy. Math has never been a hard subject for me. Once I learn a concept, a logical concept, it's pretty easy for me to continually apply. And some people are not good at math. So a lot of people that don't like math need to find some way to get good at this logical, mathematical type of intelligence, which doesn't always have to be math. So really keep that in mind. Let me see if I got any comments, man. I saw the people watching it. I appreciate the people that's watching and tuning in. Let me see real quick. Let me see. Let's see. Got any people on here on IG? It's a lot of people that came on here on IG. I appreciate that. Let me see real quick. Okay, bet. So I just need me some water, y'all. I've been talking for a minute. This video gonna be short and straight to the point because it's not a hard concept to understand. Truly, when you understand that this life is a game, and then you understand that you have to create your unfair advantage because everybody else is trying to create theirs, then you understand the only two ways to do that is through education and opportunity. And we're going to talk about optimizing education right now. So, optimizing education, the third type of education is spatial intelligence. It's your ability to think in three dimensions: mental imagery, spatial reasoning, and navigation. People that are really good at this type of intelligence include architects, pilots, artists, graphic designers. Ways to develop this type of intelligence: drawing, 3D modeling, map reading, and photography. This is something that a lot of us develop growing up without even realizing it. The kids that like drawing growing up, the kids that are on their phones, but maybe they're not addicted to games like everybody else, these iPad kids. Maybe they just like taking pictures on the phone and like taking pictures all the time. I'm not talking about selfies in the mirror. I'm not talking about all these different things that people post on Instagram, thirst traps and stuff like that. I'm talking about taking a liking to actually taking photos of nature and just different compositions. This is the type of intelligence that you can develop, and the ways to develop it, like they said: drawing, 3D modeling, map reading, and photography. Think about it. These are different types of intelligence that not all of us had the opportunity to develop. Some of us were interested in music and nothing else. And that's actually another type of intelligence I'm going to get into. The fourth type of intelligence is musical intelligence. It's a skill in performance, composition, and appreciation of musical patterns. People that typically are good at this are musicians, composers, and sound engineers. Ways to develop this is by learning an instrument, composing music, and active listening to music for patterns. This is something that people who are fond of music, like on a deep level, like actually composing it, making beats, playing an instrument, they understand singing. Like these are different types of intelligence. They all work together. Don't think of one type of intelligence as like, oh, this is my strong suit. This is the only one I'm gonna use. You use all of them interconnected. And to some people, they have such strong logical intelligence, but such low spatial intelligence. So now in the middle, they're like right here, but the reality is they need to bring both of these up and play to your strengths always. Don't get me wrong, you should. But you shouldn't just lack one area that you realize you didn't get that much development in at all growing up either. Do something to make sure that you continually educate yourself to be intelligent in these different ways. And you'll see that once you start growing in knowledge in one area, it starts to overlap in all these different areas. Number five, the fifth type of intelligence is bodily kinesthetic intelligence. This is the type of intelligence where you're using your body to express ideas, emotions, or to solve problems. People that are good at this type of intelligence are athletes, dancers, surgeons, and craftspeople. Ways to develop this is through sports, acting, and physical activity, physical crafts. The biggest thing that you can learn how to do this is learn a trade. You know how many people back in the day used to actually know how to fix things in their house? Like when they wanted to solve a problem, they just used their hands, played with stuff, figured things out, and fixed it. Men used to be more handy. You know, girls used to be pretty good at fixing things too. Mind you, they used to knit, they used to sew. You don't think you don't just like one day learn how to do these things. Like, no, you learn it over time. It's a type of intelligence that a lot of people are losing because they don't use their hands to solve problems. Can you change the oil in your own car? Can you change the battery in your car? Can you solve problems with your hands? Like these are small things, but they go a long way when you realize just how much all intelligence is interconnected. So that's one type of intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence. And obviously working out and getting stronger, understanding your body from a strength perspective. Yes, in dancing and all these different things, like working out your body will never be a bad thing. The sixth type of intelligence is interpersonal intelligence, your ability to understand and interact effectively with others. We all know that awkward person. I used to be him. Now I can pretty much talk to anybody I want whenever I want. I'm not really worried too much about, you know, disappointing people or anything of that nature. But I used to be terrible at this type of intelligence. It's something I struggled with for a very long point in my life. And one of the easiest things that I've been able to do to get better at it is just going out and talking to people. People that are really good at this type of intelligence include philosophers, psychologists, spiritual leaders, and writers. I went from being one of the most awkward kids in any of school that I ever stepped foot in to being a counselor and pretty good at sales and being really good at building relationships with people and helping them the best way that I know how once I understand what they want and what they need and what they want most importantly for themselves in their lives. But the ways that you can get better at this type of intelligence is through journaling, meditation, therapy, but most importantly, is self reflection. Self reflection will teach you more about humans than anything you can do looking at somebody else. A lot of us love pointing the finger at the world and in other situations, but they never take a step back to be like, huh, what is wrong with me? Like, what is wrong with me? And we have two more intelligence, so I'm not going to bore you. Eight is naturalistic intelligence, your ability to recognize and categorize plants, animals, and other aspects of nature. Talk about the people that used to understand how to plant and garden. I mean, we completely lost that in America for the most part, understanding how to take care of plants and actually grow your own food. Man, it was a blessing that our ancestors got to learn how to do this, but now we rely so much on other people for survival. Not everybody. I mean, America is one of those places that do, but and a lot of most of Americans, but a lot of other countries that aren't as fortunate, they have to know how to grow their own food. They have to know how to source it and kill the animal and all the different things that we take for granted we don't have to do. Naturalistic intelligence. People that are good at this are biologists, farmers, environmentalists, and chefs. And one way that you can get better at this type of intelligence is through gardening, hiking, or just studying different ecosystems, animal, plant ecosystems. Study it. Really understand how nature interacts. Because at the end of the day, we are all at the mercy of nature. If a hurricane strike in your city, you can't do nothing about that. If a lion roamed into your house somehow, you couldn't do anything about that. So really think about just how important ecosystem knowledge is to understand. And if one animal goes extinct, how damaging it is to the world, not just the animal kingdom, but you as well. Figure out how all those things interact. And lastly, the last type of intelligence is existential spiritual intelligence. This type of intelligence is the sensitivity and capacity to tackle deep questions about human existence, why we live, why we die, and what our purpose is. This is an intelligence that I would love to improve, and I'm constantly improving by learning about different philosophies, but most importantly, learning about the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I grew up Christian. I'll study other religions. I can't find any religion that makes more sense. And I also can't say that I blame people based on all the atrocities in this world for not believing in God. All I can say is that God is amazing. He's been good in my life. I've suffered just as much as the next person, if not more or less, because we all suffer different amounts. But what I can say is that Jesus is definitely the answer for everyone. And I would love to give that opportunity to anyone who wants to come to church or learn about him. Reach out to me at any time. But they describe people that are good at spiritual and existential intelligence as philosophers, theologians, spiritual teachers, and life coaches. And ways to develop your existential or spiritual intelligence is through reading philosophy, meditating, and reflective dialogue. Those were a lot of the nine intelligences. And you can see how different parents give their kids an unfair advantage. This playbook that helps wealth perpetuate. I'm not just talking about, setting your kids up with money so that they can go to college for free and have no debt. I'm not just talking about if you got your own business, giving your kid a job over somebody else, not because they're the most qualified, but because they're your kid and you can train them. I'm not just talking about that type of nepotism. Yes, that's good too, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about the little things, making sure your kid is in a church to develop existential intelligence. Put them outside and force them to learn something about planting something or anything about animals so that they can learn naturalistic intelligence. I'm talking about forcing them to go and make friends and share and be kind so that they can develop interpersonal intelligence, understand emotions, and force them not to just cry and not know why, but actually reflect, why are you crying? What is wrong? Actually give them that interpersonal intelligence, musical intelligence. Get them to learn music, play an instrument, something. Get them to work out their body so they get the body and kinesthetic intelligence. Get them to understand spatial intelligence by learning how to build with building blocks as a kid, or maybe even playing Minecraft, because I'm a nerd and I like Minecraft. And secondly, the math intelligence. Put them in some strategic games. Maybe learn chess. Maybe, just talk about strategy. How would you accomplish this, kid, son, daughter? Put them in games and classes. These private schools do amazing at teaching all these different types of intelligence. And lastly, linguistic intelligence. How can you communicate in a way that accomplishes your goals? Those nine types of intelligence are all that people understand who want to push forward the generational wealth, because the one thing you can't do after you build it is keep it. You're going to die and somebody else is going to steward it. That's the one thing that rich people do understand who want to perpetuate the generational wealth. So they prioritize education and opportunity. If you're super rich, you have trust fund money to where you can pay for your kid to get connections at Harvard. But if you're not super rich and you can't donate hundreds of thousands to Harvard so your great great grandchildren can get in there and get the same connections that the top prestigious people go to, then maybe it's just as simple as making sure that your kid, after they graduate high school, doesn't have to pay rent to live anywhere and can save up money while having a plan in your home. I find the most financially irresponsible people being parents who think that their kids should suffer the way that they did. Because if everybody else trying to give their kids a unfair advantage in the game of life, and you're trying to hold them back because you want to prove a point, yeah, there's other ways to prove that point earlier on than when they're 18. And you've probably already spoiled them and forgot, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna spoil them until they're 18, and then I'm gonna cut them off and say, pay rent somewhere and kick them out. Stupid. The dumbest mentality I could ever think of. It's a very dumb mentality. And I can never actually vouch for someone who thinks like that. But like I said, guys, this is the secret playbook. We talked about the education. The opportunities, we talked about a few of those as well, like making sure your kids have an unfair advantage by not forcing them to suffer and make things harder on them like everybody else. You can understand the lessons and be a hard worker, but also you got to know your kids. Some people just not gonna understand those lessons. Some of your kids gonna be more irresponsible, so you gotta make them hit their head and learn the hard way. It's a beautiful thing, guys. The nepotism effect is that playbook of making sure your kids and yourself is more educated, so you have your unfair advantage and you have more opportunities. And if you didn't get them from your family, how do you create them yourself? Do you go network with a ton of people? I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because I got a video where I'm gonna talk about creating your own opportunities, and that is gonna be a story for another day. But if you understand all these different things, you will definitely be putting yourself in a position to succeed, whether that be in the areas of health, wealth, love, happiness. You can build and get any opportunity, any situation, any goal accomplished and done in your life as long as you understand how to build that unfair advantage in life. It's basic, it's simple, but it gets really deep when we talk about what happens when you die and you haven't prepared your kids with this information. You can build all the wealth in the world, but if you got some dumb kids, I mean, not dumb kid. I done seen some, man. I know a lot of rich people who kids don't even want their wealth, man. I know people that got money who kids don't want their businesses. Who kid like, I don't think you guys understand. I know multiple millionaires who kids don't want their businesses. Like, and I'm sure at the time when they were building their wealth, they didn't necessarily think as much about all the things that they could have done to prevent the just the character or just the understanding of their kids are like, man, I do want that. But also understand too, they're their own humans. I mean, you could do all of this stuff and then every single one of your kids could still not want any of your wealth and still not be intelligent enough to take care of it. But we're talking about increasing your chances and creating an unfair advantage. We're not talking about being God himself and making sure everything in your life goes the way you planned it. I want to make that very clear. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching this live stream where we talked about the nepotism effect, how the rich grow and keep their wealth. Have a blessed rest of your day, guys, and God bless. Peace.